So what is a clicker and why do you care? A clicker is a training tool that uses positive reinforcement training to teach dogs new behaviors. Now, if you have not looked at my behavior basics video, go ahead and take a look at that. It's short, just to give you an overview of kind of how behavior works, and then that'll give you more of a context for this training tool. So the reason trainers really like the clicker is that it works very quickly. Dogs learn very quickly because they're great at making associations that this sound means they are going to get a reinforcer, a reward. So the clicker acts as a camera. So think of it this way, like a camera taking a picture of a moment in time where a dog is doing a behavior that we like or that we want. Right? So it gives instant feedback to the dog. I like it because it is more precise than the human voice, and regardless of who's doing the training, it ends up being a common language. So whether it's you, your spouse, your kids, whatever, the dog understands across every trainer that this sound means yes, what you just did is going to earn you a reinforcer. So it's very precise. It's a very novel sound, right? So most dogs, I mean, especially in rescue, right? We get a lot of dogs from unknown backgrounds, but most of the time, dogs that we run across in rescue, or obviously our own dogs who have never had the experience, it's a new sound to them. So they're not bringing any sort of baggage associated with training that may have been unpleasant or anything. So we get to teach our dog a new thing, and we all know how much dogs appreciate novelty. Once a dog is up and running on the clicker, they start trying to figure out how they can earn a click. So then you get a dog who is a participant in the learning process and who his brain starts to working. It taps into the seeking system of the brain, which is the part that goes, I'm trying to solve this puzzle. And for dogs and humans alike, that creates happy brain chemistry, which is another reason I love the clicker, because it's really useful for certain really shy dogs. Shy dogs that maybe are having a hard time because even eye contact from a human is a little bit too much pressure. A click can be the perfect way to let a dog know, yes, what you just did is the behavior that I wanted, and now you're going to get paid. Now, a side note for sound-sensitive dogs, any sort of sound-sensitive dog can be really affected by a noise that's A, novel, and B, comes from a source that they can't identify. So sometimes a click can be, and they make some clickers that are quieter, but sometimes the sound itself can be off-putting. You definitely don't want to use it in those situations. A couple of options: you can use something that makes less of a sound, like a pen, and you still get that precise marker. You can also take a clicker and wrap it in, like I've used a baby sock before that really is great at muffling the sound. That's another option too. So, but it's really important that if you do have a sound sensitive dog, that you use your verbal marker word, yes, nice, good, one of those instead. Until you can kind of figure out what the dog's threshold is for sound. Okay, so I wanted to get that in there because a lot of the dogs we deal with in rescue can be sound sensitive and we might not know, and we don't want to create a negative association with any kind of training or any sort of interaction with us. Okay, so let's do a quick demo of how we get our dogs up and running on the clicker. Now, to be fair, both Frank and Gino have been clicker trained, so they already know what it means, but it doesn't matter for this exercise. It's the same process of getting your dog up and running. So you want to take, and I would never work with two dogs at one time when they're trying to learn this, because another dog present is just too distracting, and then you bring out the treats and everybody gets too excited. So you're going to want to work with one dog at a time. Grab yourself 5, if you've got a small dog, 5 treats, 10 treats for a big dog. That counts as a training session. So when we say do multiple sessions, I like to count sessions in terms of number of treats. So usually like 10 treats for a session. Also, I hear a lot, my dogs aren't really that excited about food. Email me through my website if you want a list of possible reinforcers, things we can use for treats. Rule of thumb is soft is better than hard because it smells better. It tends to be more appetitive for dogs, and it has a higher value. Cheese, hot dogs. I use a product, a Happy Howie's loaf that you can get on Amazon. All right, so let's jump in, but again, contact me if you want some ideas on other reinforcers. So we're trying to associate that the click equals a treat. So I'm gonna have you guys come up. Okay, nice. So again, you'd be working with one dog, but these two are, have to be fair. So I'm going to keep my hands, and I know it's hard to see in the video. I'll show you. I am keeping my hands with clicker and treat behind my back, okay? So I'm going to click, I'm gonna pause for a moment, and I'm gonna deliver a treat. And I'm giving one to each dog. Again, you wouldn't do this with your dogs, you do one at a time. So it would look like this. So I'm clicking, pausing, and then I'm delivering the treat. The reason I keep my hands quiet, the clicker's not a remote control. I don't want all this movement, me reaching into my treat bag or anything like that, to happen before the click. I don't want the dog glomming that in as part of the whole picture. Remember, dogs kind of think in pictures, so I don't want my movement or any extraneous information going to the dog. I want it to be super clean, right? So it's simply a click, Now, there's a 1-to-1 ratio, and at the end I'll wrap up with kind of some do's and don'ts, some basic tips. But if you click, even with a mistake, you have to still pay the dog, right? It's okay. You'll be practicing your timing. Freebies are fine. Oh, Gino. I keep dropping treats, that's why they keep jumping off. Right? Okay, so you do a few sessions of this. You're clicking, you're treating, you're focused more on your mechanics, right? Your still body, you don't want a lot of movement of hands. And then the way to test it is, after you've done a few sessions, wait until your dog is not paying attention to you, but is still within earshot, and click the clicker. And if they look, the way Gino just did, they get it, that, hey, that click means I'm about to get a treat. So then we can start using it for behaviors.